All right, excited to see you here, and maybe you are curious what exactly AgentJolly is. In this video, I'm going to show you from download through several use cases how AgentJolly is going to be easy to set up for you and easy to deploy and easy to call on whenever you need some help. So let's get started. In my downloads folder here, I've got a fresh copy of AgentJolly just for me, and I'm going to double click that zip file and check out the folder. Now, personally I use Claude, maybe you use ChatGPT. As you can see, I have a new Claude session here, and all my prompt above it was to make sure it doesn't pull in any other context from my desktop, our past sessions, etc. So my first prompt is, I got a cool new tool here, I want you to help me set up. Then I'm going to tell it, awesome, I have purchased AgentJolly, which is going to help me with outreach. Can you please check it out in this folder? And you can drag and drop. I know that when I work with Claude, it really prefers to know the destination. So I'm just going to give it the full file destination. Just double checking here to make sure I've got my spelling correct. Yep. And we'll go ahead and let it work. If you used LLMs, this is a very classic first issue you'll have, which is just tell it it's allowed to work in the folder wherever you decide to keep your AgentJolly. Of course, in my normal setup, I've got a section of my computer reserved for Claude here that it knows it can work in, but this is a demo where I wanted a totally clean copy for the purposes of our video. So not super complex troubleshooting. It's reading right now. It's pulling up exactly what you would see on our website. If you want to check it out, no obligation to buy anything. You can just read through all the different skills that are here now on your desktop. And then for Claude, it wants to go ahead and ask what we want done. And if you're like me, you may be a little hesitant because you don't know Jolly or Greg, and you're wondering, are these skills something I really want to go ahead and wire up immediately? Maybe instead we want to review first and install later. I think what I would do is just go ahead and install, but let's see what Claude reviews AgentJolly as so that we review it first. And what I'd like to see is if it bundles it up as a plugin, but for the purposes of this demo, let's leave it in raw format with no extra work necessary and see what Claude says. And I'll pause it to speed up your video, and I'll let you know how long this took Claude. So as you can see, I'm going live here with Claude. It's been about 2 minutes of reviewing all of the skills files that you will receive with AgentJolly. And what is core to AgentJolly, Claude accurately read, is at Jolly here, we only do earned link building. We don't do paid outreach. So core to all of these skills is, what if you weren't paying for these placements? Would you actually be able to secure it? And that is what must be true for all of this. There's about 3 main categories. Oh, excuse me. Claude knows AgentJolly better than I do at this point after just 2 minutes of analysis. 4 main, according to Claude, components. There is the discovery, finding different opportunities, guest posts, podcasting, what Jolly made a name for itself in the done for you hero space. There's the resource page and roundup prospecting. Then there is qualifying, back to the whole earn versus paid, making sure the publication is relevant to you, has the right authority, etc. Tier 3 is the actual pitching, which a lot of people really want to know, how do we get the wins we do? AgentJolly has our IP bundled into it. You've got our, not patented, but our terminology like the double Google. You've got personalized outreach drafting. You've got red flags to catch, etc. And then there's the operating, right? There's following up. There's reporting on the earned wins if you report internally or if you've got clients. These are all really critical components to doing an earned outreach campaign versus paid. And now this is going to be different for you. My Claude account happens to already have these connected. This step, you will need to ask Claude to please prompt me, or you would simply navigate over and start connecting things. And what we've got in my version is, we need Ahrefs for this. In V2 of AgentJolly, if you don't have your own Ahrefs account, you can go ahead and make API calls through AgentJolly. What we have available today is a lifetime purchase, $299. You get all of the skills forever. You don't need to pay us anything else ever. So the recommended next moves by Claude is do a test session. Check out the Earn vs. Paid link auditor and see what Jolly Search's existing backlink profile is with this wired up to Ahrefs. I think this sounds like a great test for today. What this would be doing is considering if you would want to do a guest post on Jolly Search, which we don't allow, sorry, but it's a good run. And then we can skip this for today because I'm not about to change my outreach skills. This is something you may need to consider for yourself if you want to override your existing outreach skills if you have some installed on your LLM of choice. And then I do like this suggestion to installing tiers. I'm a really conservative agentic guy. So let's go ahead and tell Claude, hey Claude, let's do the first session test. This sounds exciting. Do you need anything from me or can you get started? Let's see what Claude says. Needs to think for just a moment here. This portion of the video, feel free to hit 2x. I want to show it to you in real time though. And while Claude's thinking, again, it's just $299 for the whole bundle. And what you're gonna get in here is, we already went over, the first 4 skills are dedicated to finding opportunities. Now the next 2 skills, we're testing number 5 out right now. We're seeing if Jolly Search, the moment of truth, comes up as a red flag site you don't want to build links from, or maybe you do want to. And then skill 6, which we're not showing in this demo, would then also look at, in this case, our site, but in your case, your site, as is there overlap with the target site? Do our topics align? And anything else that is built into the skill that are editorial signals, just to make sure as a second layer of QC that this is really something we want to outreach to. And assuming Jolly Search passes the evaluation tier, it's going to help us do the outreach. And then finally, if follow-up is needed, because again, this isn't paid links. These are quality websites where an editor is busy and may need you to follow up with them. So let's get back and check out Claude. Claude says, I've got what I need. Ahrefs is connected. And it's checking out where we just 301 from and is actively passing the legacy. Interesting that the file just recommends auditing the legacy. It's basically looking under the hood. I like that actually. And it's actively passing since we only pulled our 301 about 30 days ago. So you can see because we have Ahrefs wired up, that it's going ahead into Site Explorer and checking things out. And as it's already been about 2 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and pause and let it run, and I'll give you an update on how long it took to run, and we'll check out the results together. It's been about 1.5 minutes, and if your LLM is not set up to just blow through things, like I said, I'm a bit conservative. I need it to ask me questions to feel comfortable. So you're going to have to click a couple buttons. Here's one that we got stopped about 1.5 minutes in. I need to say, yes, it's okay for you to look at Ahrefs stats. And then now it's going to go ahead and run the 5-step audit after it's already picked the target. And what we're going to do while it's running the audit for the next, I'd guesstimate 90 seconds, is just go over some FAQ. First off, the one thing I wanted to make sure is that this tool, AgentJolly, is perfect for both the technical and people like me who aren't technical. So what I wanted is for all of Jolly's IP to go into a set of skills that you can install in as simple as just dragging that folder, like you saw at the start of this call, just double clicking on a zip file, popping it open, and if you'd wanted to move it into a folder you've already designated as a Claude workspace or ChatGPT workspace, or in my case, just saying, why don't you just work in this new folder for this session? Obviously, it can work in any platform that can run off of markdown files, .md. And what is included, we've gone over that a bit. There will be a personalized README file for you, plus, as I said, guaranteed 50% discount on V2. Now, something to keep in mind, the skills do run without Ahrefs, but you're going to get better data integrity with that. Before we continue with the last 3 questions, let's just make sure, yep, we've got another comparison here. Okay, great. So actually what we're looking at here is, I believe, we're going to get a list of sites that Jolly Search could do outreach to, or perhaps what I'm reading here is actually, this is AgentJolly, I believe, analyzing Jolly Search's backlink profile. So these are referring domains that we have that it's going to give its analysis on. Let's see what it does. It's still working. We're at 3.5 minutes on the backlink profile analysis, which I just love because if you've been in SEO a while, analyzing the backlink profile of a site, sometimes small sites is pretty quick work, but it can be a laborious process, and that's one thing that's important to us at Jolly, is to make sure that we're building links from websites that are going to enhance our clients' search engine optimization, not be detrimental to. It's really important before you build a link to do the analysis. So I'm happy that Claude's taken the 3.5 minutes at this point. Why the one-time price? Look, as I mentioned, skills do need refresh. This is a lifetime deal. So what I'm telling you here and now is that AgentJolly is going to work great as is. If I get some user feedback that seems critical, I will definitely update it and reach out to everyone who's purchased to say, why don't you take this quick patch on a skill file? But by and large, the more SaaS version, which is not going to have a user interface, so I'm going to keep the cost way down, is going to be V2. And that, you're already locked in at half price for when that comes out. So this time around, I just want to get you one-time only payment so that we together learn how to deploy AgentJolly properly rather than ask you to pay me monthly for it. Refund policy, of course. If you think that this is not a great tool and you show me you've deleted all the files from your desktop, then okay. You can use AgentJolly at your own team. All I ask is that if you decide you love AgentJolly so much that you want to promote it, become an affiliate. You can open up our Dub link here. You can sign up on Dub to our Jolly SEO partner program and earn 40% on every single referral, which I would love. A little bit of FOMO. The discounted price of $2.99 is for the first 100 seats. Maybe I'll even close doors after that, because then I'll get serious about V2 here, right? But let's go ahead and see what the audit did. We have our results. So it took it about 4 minutes, maybe less. I was gabbing on over there in the FAQ and trying to make a pitch to you, right? But link quality audit of jollyseo.com. They decided to audit the legacy domain, which I appreciate. The verdict at a glance, it says except for quite a handful, and then we have one review, and it scored it a 1 out of 5. Called it a traffic cliff. That sounds brutal. I'm going to pause this and pull up Ahrefs to cross-reference. If you've worked with LLMs, you know hallucination is possible. So let's double check. Geez, guys, we're 5 minutes later and I'm fighting my VPN here in China so hard. We gotta move on. The show must go on. I will splice that in. All right, a little sheepishly splicing this back in. AgentJolly was correct. The traffic did fall off a cliff. I also appreciate the grace that it's giving to the target website, in this case our own domain, that we got that link years before the traffic fell off a cliff. It was in January 2026, as we can see, and made sure to verify that because I'm still not fully trusting AI all the time. I think it's good to fact check, just like we would fact check a human. And it totally nailed it on the analysis. Traffic did start falling off a cliff in January 2026. So today I wouldn't reach out to curator.io. So we want to make sure that we are careful with sites that show up with such a low score on one of their backlinks. Now, if all of these showed up, I would probably just avoid the site at first glance. But it's only one, so I'm not surprised that, and here's the scoring rubric, by the way. Traffic cliff, not good, really not good. There's 99.4% do follow out on their outbound links according to the review. Again, I would double check this if I really wanted to, and looks like it couldn't fetch some data points, so that's something to look into. If AgentJolly simply can't execute on that, is it either the way you've wired up your Ahrefs, or is it something you need to reach out to me and give me feedback? And content relevance, personally, I would still be okay with being in a social media tool site for my business, which is AEO, SEO, but that's fine. It says probably benign, but that 99% do follow is very fishy to me. Now, it gives it a pass based on it being auto-embedded customer widgets. Let's not spend too much more time on curator.io, but it still is something that was a red flag in Jolly's backlink profile. However, the overall evaluation here, uncommonly clean. I would have expected some link farms or PBNs, but we've got 0 spam flags. We've got some great EDU links. I want to know, where the heck are these from? I haven't seen these before, so that's why I really wanted Ahrefs to load. I wanted to check those out and see where they're from. These ones I know. I mean, we've written for all the big publications in the industry at this point, and of course gotten links from all the best SaaS companies. It looks like we practice what we preach, right? So recommended next move, use it. Do this domain. Now, this is just one example of one tool in AgentJolly. You can run multiple sessions at a time if you want to speed up the research. And again, this was just to evaluate, would I want to do outreach to this website, jollysearch.com. It was looking under the hood at our legacy domain, what the backlink profile was of that. I'm pretty satisfied with this. And next steps for me here in this session, in the install session, would be to say, you know what, skill 5 looked good. Let's go ahead and migrate the entire folder over into our dedicated folder if you already got one. Or if you're new to agents and AgentJolly is your first one, well, I feel very privileged and happy to help you as you grow in that journey like I sure have been. But in the meantime, what I would suggest is you go ahead and just let Claude or ChatGPT have access to one folder for now, this AgentJolly folder, and do the full install and do a test run of every single skill and see what happens. And in the meantime, I finally got Ahrefs to load here, which I'll splice back in after the video ends. And what I'd love to encourage you to do is consider sign up for AgentJolly. It's a super simple process. You just enter your details, and after you've done so, you will get, as it says, the bundle delivered by email immediately after payment, and I will be very grateful that you've done so. The payment is totally secure. It's through Stripe. We don't keep your card details, as you know how Stripe works. This is my lovely VPN life in China just delaying loading. So I really appreciate you for watching this long. If you have questions about AgentJolly, I encourage you to check out the page here, AgentJolly. I encourage you to reach out to me. This is meant to be, as it says here, for operators. This isn't some theoretical, it's not a white paper, not a little gimmick. This is all of our IP bundled into a skill set for you to deploy. If you're interested, I hope you'll click the first link in the description here and give Agent Jolly a try for yourself. Have fun outreaching.